Uh, Greetings everybody. This is my first time usually using a mic and commentary, but I heard that you guys wanted to see my build for Dragon Hunter. I've been using Dragon Hunter ever since it released, and I had a variety of builds. I had power build to conditions, which is my current one now. This class has, it has fallen back from its prime, I would say. When I usually use power builds, with new classes coming out, I feel like power builds are obsolete. So switching to conditions for this class is, I believe it's better. So what I have right now is, if we go into my PvP build, because this is what I do for PvP, it's different from my PvE stuff. It should be here where we have our runes. So for Dragon Hunter, I run the Carrion Amulet, Power Vitality Condition Damage with Balthazar, because most of our damage come from burning, so I just have this. It gives you as much burning as possible with extra health for survivability. My weapons, I run Sword with a Torch, and for my other weapon, I have Scepter with a Focus. So why do I use these is because I like to start off with the Scepter first, because when you want to get into a battle, you want to start filling them out, going long range, and measure what you need to do. And then when you're done, you could just have this. You could use your 3 to lock them, 4 to have some CC, and then have your 5 to swap in. Then when you're doing this is when you usually want to burst in, when you go into your 2, and then you come into your 3. Then how you have your 4, you use your flame. Also, I'll go into the here, the traits panel eventually, but that's why I was able to activate this twice. But when you usually go into burst people, you usually want to start off with your Q as well, because you get increased damage, and in case you need to CC them, you just come in, teleport, use your 4, put more fire stacks on them, and I usually use this again. And then for my abilities, what I have is that since you're a Dragon Hunter, compared to all the classes for Guardian, Dragon Hunter is best to use with shields. So you have your Dragon Hunter skills, use this to engage, use this for mobility, escape, heal, or trap. And this is mostly for defensive. I wouldn't use this for anything else unless you get stunned or anything like that. For my abilities, I have more blocking, which is with this. I don't go with the Dragon Hunter healing because with how easily people can usually burst you down, this is usually obsolete. And you have to hope that they land on your traps, which you can do, and I was pretty good at it, but I just prefer the instant healing from blocking, because this can help stop any sudden damage that may come to you in case your block of your R is down, because you usually just only have this and your fire skill and your torch and your focus. Other than that, you may have to use your ultimate, which is your renewed focus. And I'll get into how I use this properly. So for my abilities, I have fire to add more stacks. I usually like to stack this with my trap, which is with the spinning blades. Processing of blades. This is the best trap to use personally. And then you have your teleport meditation. I like to have this because it also can break stun, get closer to the enemy with your sword. You can stack it, and it does burning damage. It has a very great utility. And then I have meditation. I like to use this when these abilities are down, and I'll get more into details with that later. Now for my traits, I have Radiance, Virtues, and Dragon Hunter. So for Radiance, I have your precision is increased when hitting a one-handed weapon, which is what you mostly use. This is something I have just for the power. And then I have Zealot's Flame. This is where the torches come in. When you want to do your burst, you can have an extra ability, and your Zealot's Flame is your heavy hitter on the torch, so it's really good to have an extra one. And you have your recharge reduced by 20. And then Burning Your Inflicts deals increased damage as a condition build. Burning duration speed is increased. You have this, which is good for your F1 ability. Then we go to Virtues. Virtues is really good because it gives you concentration gains, reduced recharge, which you have right here, concentrations from your flame. Back when I was a power build, this would be something else. Usually right here, gain Aegis when disabled. Or I could go for this one over here. But I mostly would go for this when I was as a power build. But we're mostly on condition right now. So concentration gains reduced recharge from your flame, so you can have it as fast as possible. And then we have strike damage increase after activating a virtue, which is good because when you're on your sword and you have your Q on them, you do additional damage with your burst when you switch to 2 and then 3. And then we have the effect of your virtue skill 3 break stun, which is really important because this is your life saving skill, which you need to save from certain classes that can just melt you immediately. So this is very important to have. And then for the Dragon Hunter, you're not mostly using traps, so I wouldn't get this. Cripple enemies when you disable, you can disable, but it's very specific, and it's better just to have Breaks of Resolve because this can be used as a wide variety of things. You can use your E if you want to trap an enemy. If they're getting away, you could just catch them down, place your traps, or push a fire, or you can use your E to dash away or survivability. So you can either use it offensive or defensively, which is why I have that. Then we go into Zealot's Aggression, increase strike damage when crippling foes. You can cripple foes with your F1 right here, which is why you get so much damage with your Q, which is why I believe you should always use it whenever you can. Not only that, but it's very conditional when you could also pull people with it. When you want such a traps, you can pull people and then do this. Fortunately, I can't pull the golem because he has this type of meter. But if it was with a regular player like this, you could have pulled them, stacks your stuff. Then you could use your E to immobilize, or could use your 3 on your scepter to immobilize, or stack the immobility if they can't get out. And you could just usually get them out like that, which is why I have this. It's really good. And with these three, you could pick either this or this. It's pretty much it varies. I like to go with this for War vs. World, but every other thing I like to go with this instead because when you strike an enemy with your Spirit Justice, you get more damage with invulnerability, and you can do increased damage. But I like to go with this when you're in like large parties because of conditions. When you're blocking, you can also remove conditions for every damage blocked, which is very good. So you don't have to usually remove them any other way. Personally, you could pick either or because back when I power build, I wouldn't pick this because when I was as a power build, you wouldn't have this. I would usually have this, and with meditation, you heal conditions and do damage. Or you can have the other one where you can convert your conditions into boons. But since we're as a Condi build, we're removing some Condi removal just for extra damage, and our main priority of removing conditions is with your R and E, which is why when you usually go into fights, you want to use these as much as possible. How I like to gauge my abilities is to use these quite early in the battle, but don't try to waste them. If you can use them, and then until you can get them again. Then when you're really low, you can usually use this to recharge and do more damage and burst. I'll usually try to show this in a match, if possible. I'm very rusty, but this is what I usually do when I'm playing this build. Always start off with Scepter to focus, to Sword and Torch as your end game, as your burst, and you usually want to stay into this as a defensive. I believe I explained that well, so I guess I could. Oh, before I go into that, I believe I forgot to show something else for my build. So Carrion Amulet, Balthazar, Sword, Torch with Doom, when you swap to this weapon, you inflict poison to get more Condi damage. And I always like to have energy, because you always need to have your dodges, because we're losing some defensive abilities for more offensive. Because in case of you fighting a necromancer, you want to have your dodges to dodge some of their AoE attacks that they put on the ground. I also have another energy for this weapon, and then I have battle when you gain 4 stacks of might on your scepter. Actually, these should be swapped, but yeah, more or less you can have it on any weapon. Usually these should be swapped because you want to have your might on your sword when you start doing bonus damage. But yeah, I just like to leave it as it is. Uh, I'll see if I can play. I'll try my best to showcase this in PvP. I can't really showcase on these NPCs as they usually die too fast, and they don't really show a realistic example of how well this build works. So I'll show a build. I'll show this off in a PvP match.
Strong. The match starts soon. Hold on to your points. Seize theirs. Windmill capture. Kill shot. Enemy captured the clock tower. Enemy captured the man. Strong. Clock tower captured. Windmill captured. Enemy captured the clock tower.
A little help.
Clock tower captured. Windmill captured. Enemy captured the mansion. I feel strong. I'm unstoppable. Justice, courage, resolve. Enemy captured the clock tower. Mansion, cast assistance needed.
I was in some deep trouble.
Windmill captured.
Feel my turbulence.
Enemy captured the master.
Attack my target!
Still, barely.
Attack my target!
Yeah, so that's pretty much how that battle went. You usually want to start with your Q, immobilize with your E, get your R to get some blocks, and then cycle through that. Otherwise, that's pretty much how I use my build. Hopefully that build was pretty helpful. Just again, here's the stats, the weapons, the sigils, and my traits.